So this episode is going to be wild. I can tell from just the amount we've been talking before this podcast. So John Lee became a multimillionaire at 27. He's an expert when it comes to AI, Web 3.0, marketing, and pretty much anything business orientated. So big pleasure to have you here today. Really excited from some crazy, wild AI stuff you showed me already. So I think that's probably the first place to go into. If you were an online coach or someone with an online info product business who's looking to scale in 2025, how would you utilize AI on the front end to really maximize lead generation and traffic?
It's a good question, Charlie, because what's the biggest problem now with coaches? Time, right? You get a client, you have one person, sucks up your time. Second person sucks up your time. Basically, you have a cap of how many people you can take. So what's the great thing about AI? AI, people say, oh, is AI going to take over people's jobs? No, AI is going to expand your job, actually, right? Because it means that I can now have 1 million Charlies. Right? So if I have 1 million versions of you, you don't have to do anything. So then how do you do that? So in AI, we have something called a knowledge base. So, and how many episodes have you done of this podcast now?
200 maybe?
200. We can take all 200 of them, put them to a knowledge base, put a algorithm around it, or an LLM, and then we put guardrails around it so no sensitive information leaks out. And I can ask you any question based on anything you've asked over the last 200 episodes, and it'll pull it out. And it'll put context around it and have a predictive model. That's what transformers do.
Yeah.
It predicts what the next word's going to be based on the context. So that's how you're actually going to scale. So a lot of people, when you ask that question, normally people say, oh yeah, get more leads, right? Build a bigger brand, make more content. No, sometimes you've got to step back and you've got to look at how you're going to scale, not through profit, but through values and systems. Every business needs 3 things: marketing, sales, operations. But people focus too much on this on this part here when they should be focusing on the back end, because the back end is what scales, right? If you're always in it like a bull through a china shop, you're not going to be able to, like if I give you 1 million clients now, you can't serve them. So what's the point in having millions of followers?
Do you think people get pulled into that trap because marketing's sexy and operations is boring?
Well, it's just because they've never been taught. Like your business go, okay, you need to build a brand, you need marketing, you have to make sales. Very few people talk about the ops side of it. And that's why you need to have a really good COO, get a really good ops manager in, and have systems and processes. You know, one thing I always advise people do, so you can get these little mics now, right? So they're like these little things here, right? So I can just turn this on, and now it's recording, right? So everything I do, I'll record that. Or worst case scenario, I use this app, and I'll show you what it is. So we call this Otter. Yeah, so I just press this record button, and now it's transcribing every single word that we do. So I just tell people, open this app, put it on the table, okay, and just do your job every single day for a year. What it's going to do, it's now going to build your SOP. So every business cannot grow unless it's got SOP, standard operating procedure. So now all I do is I just open this, every single one of my employees do it. I've now got mass SOP, dump it into an AI. Next time your new recruit comes in, they're getting trained without any time, and they get onboarded fast.
So let's go into that a bit more, because that's fascinating. So say you take the information from Otter, what AI system do you then take that from to then consolidate into?
Well, it depends what you want. Do you want it to train? Do you want it to sell? Do you want it to create operations? Do you want it to create, different ideations?
Say from an operation, like an SOP.
Yeah. So for example, let's say you're the sales department, right? And you've opened this. That means in 365 days, you've recorded hours and hours and hours of content on text plus through audio as well.
Yeah.
So you take your best salesperson, and people aren't gonna like this, right? You take your best salesperson, use the audio to clone the voice and the tonality and the intonations of the voice. So if I speak really loud like this, or I speak really passionate like this, right? There's intonations. Then we take the text to basically have all of the words, objections, everything. We merge those two together. We dump it into let's say a conversational AI in this case. That means you, as a fitness trainer, you do a video of you doing bicep pull-ups, and I can see you've got big muscles.
Yeah.
So say, how do you get that?
Yeah.
And you'll be like, well, I can teach you, but I'd have to coach you.
Yeah.
But what if I can just click a button and speak to the AI version of you? And I ask you the exact same question. How do you get guns like that?
Yeah.
And you said, well, John, what I do is I eat this and I take this creatine, and I'm not as you can probably see, I don't look like you, but you'd be able to articulate exactly how you would say it. And it'd be able to sell for you.
And it can take that all past data. How far do you think we're away from having, so like people who have info products and fitness businesses will sell predominantly via Zoom calls face to face. How far do you think we are from being able to have AI to be able to step in and maybe do that?
It's already happening. I mean, literally, I showed you my version of my AI. I could do in 5 minutes. I'll have a AI version of Charlie.
Yeah.
Right, and you'll look exactly like you. You'll talk like you. Your mannerisms will be able to do. Because before they were very robotic like this. Right now, it's got proper mannerisms. Now, what if I take an AI avatar of you and I take conversational AI and I merge them together? Now you have an interactive AI avatar. So what's the difference in talking to you and talking to your AI version of you? It can answer exactly like you. And now you can do 1 million phone calls in one shot.
And not pay sales commission as well.
Well, doesn't call in sick, doesn't ask for pay rise. That's
doesn't
more
have a bad day.
Now, by the way, that's not to say that we fire everybody,
No.
right? Remember, it doesn't take over people's jobs. It expands their job, right? It just makes them better. So actually, your salespeople will not be making phone calls, which you'd probably be happy with, actually. They're just like, let's make that better, because every conversation in AI is recorded. So I can listen to every single one. And when I listen to one and I didn't answer that as, let's say the objection was really badly answered, I can then retrain it. That's the job now of employees, is to retrain the AI to execute.
So you think in that situation, say in a year, 2 years, 3 years, the job of a sales closer is essentially going to be training the AI version of them to improve and fix the problems that maybe it can't see yet.
Correct. That's all their job is going to do, is to train the AIs, right? And that's why, you look at all these big publishing houses. When ChatGPT came out, they fired all their writers, or most of them. I thought that was a big mistake. Why? Because let's say you got 1,000 writers, right? And 1,000 writers can pump out 1,000 articles, let's say, in a day. If everyone is trained in how to execute, they can pump out 10,000 articles a day. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of people see it the wrong way. Like when I do a lot of talks and keynotes on AI, and people get scared. They feel a bit inferior. But actually, it's a tool. It's like a phone. A phone is a tool. It allows me to get things done faster. So what's the difference between a tool in an AI form and a tool in a physical form? It's just a tool. You get in the car, you drive somewhere, you get there faster. It's just a tool.
Quick interjection into the podcast. If you're an online coach who's looking to scale the business, get their first 5K month, 10K month, or even get to 50 to 100K a month, we have helped hundreds of trainers do this at this point, and I've personally generated over $14 million online in the fitness industry. We have a proven methodology that works, provided you're willing to do the work. Now, if you want to book in a free business audit, we'll break down exactly where you are now, where you want to go, and what's currently holding you back. Hit the link below this video and below the podcast to find out exactly how we can help you. Pick a time and we will walk you through the process of where your business is at and what exponential growth looks like. Now, back to the podcast. The way Daniel Priestley explained to me, which I quite liked, is that people have the fear of that everyone's going to get fired, but it's not going to be to that extent. It'll be, say, instead of having a marketing team of maybe 100, you'd have the 5 best people who you can utilize this tool and maximize it to and then get probably 100 times the output compared to the 100.
Yeah, but and to add to that, it's when you have all this AI involved, it means you can innovate faster and execute faster. See, a lot of people learn stuff, but they don't do it, right? So, for example, if you're a fitness coach, you're like, oh, I know this thing exists, but you don't do it because because what's happening is, and like AI, tech, social media, it moves and iterates fast. So what's happening is people are here, and what's happening is every time something iterates, it goes like this, right? And what's happening is creating a gap. And in between that gap is the knowledge gap. So the longer you take to execute, the bigger the gap becomes. In which case, it's kind of like, in the old days, people used to say to you something like, in the old days, people used to say to you, oh, you need an email address. Like, why would I need an email address? Right? Now, everybody, you've got multiple email addresses now. Same thing, 2 to 3 years from now, everyone's going to have their own personal AI or AI agents. That's why the agentic AI systems are now being, it's growing. And then when you take all the agentics, you chain them together, you now have an AI organization. That's why a lot of the people who have companies now, they're scaling down, but they're scaling up. So they're having less people, making more revenue. How? Because it's scalability.
Do you think most people are sleeping on this opportunity, sticking their head in the sand with it for the moment?
A lot of people are.
I don't see a lot of people, particularly in the spaces I'm in, that are really using much with AI.
No, because everyone, you can learn about AI. The problem with AI, a lot of people are teaching. They're teaching fundamentals, technical, very, like nodes and this, what it does. But not many people are teaching the application of it, right? So when everyone's looking for gold, you sell the spades, right? So, but you need someone to make the spades. So the AI are the spades. So now you need to sell the spades, right? But you're not going to make like you're not going to go and dig for the gold,
Yeah.
because these are the people that are using it. So that's why if you're not utilizing artificial intelligence systems operations, now it's definitely more tech based, and now every business needs to have a proper tech stack as well. Meaning, okay, do they have an automated way to generate leads? So if you're a fitness trainer, what should you be doing? It's not just putting out content on social media. It's like using artificial intelligence and data. Data is the new currency. Attention is the other currency. You put them both together, I know exactly what people want. So for example, my AI, so this is what it would look like. You put a piece of content out there, you get 1 million views. Great, right? Views don't pay the bills. But I know from the 1 million views, 500,000 of them have watched at least 55% of that video. As soon as that hits, tells the AI, hey, take that video, produce lots of different variations of it, because now you know the ad performs, it's gone viral. So when you put the ads out there, the ads will perform. You see?
Proof of concept.
Proof of concept, right? Now you're not guessing, if I put this ad up, I put $1 million budget into it, is it going to convert? No, it's going to convert because it's already gone viral.
What are the AI tools that people probably haven't heard of that you think they should be using?
So it depends what they want to do. So
what's the use case? It's content creation, maybe video editing, anything to maybe streamline operations, like you mentioned, for example, like helping, say, for example, a COO and data.
So one that people need to use is Relevance AI. So that can take all your agentics and chain them together. So, okay, so if people don't know what agentic is, you have a lot of AI agents, right? So each agent will be able to perform a task. So someone said, like, I hate emails. Send me an email and my AI will reply back as me, right? Send me a WhatsApp message, my WhatsApp will reply back as me. You can, of course you can. That's how you link it together, right? So in the old days, we had Zapier. Remember Zapier?
Yeah.
Relevance is Zapier for AI.
That's wild.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's how you got to think about it. So we take all these little things and we chain them together. Now it performs a whole operation and a system. So this is why people really need to start focusing. So that's kind of the main one people need to use. And of course, you've got ChatGPT is great, but you've got things like, Gemini, you've got Anthropic, which is Claude. And there's so many, especially now with the video content creation, it's like Sora's, Vimo, like 2.0, like all these that are coming out now is really allowing people to execute a lot of things. Right now, you just have to be creative now. You don't have to do anything. Like I used to be an animator. Do you know now I can create an entire Pixar style movie with just my voice and my creativity? It's insane. If I'll show you a video of me later with me pretending to be a dog. I'm like a dog, like running around. Right? It's me. It's actually me doing it. Even creating a song. Like I've always wanted to write music, but I don't know how to write music. I'm dyslexic. I have no melody thing, but I can hum a song. Sometimes you sleep and you wake up and you get a tune in your head. You're like, that's a really cool tune. But you want to create a song from it? I can now open my phone and hum. I can put that into there, and it'll turn my humming rhythm into a full song. So I'm actually currently working on an album. Actually,
You actually?
Yeah. I've written my first song. It's. I'll play it to you later. You can see.
Where's the best place you think people should start implementing some of these things? And a lot of people listening to this will be like, "This is way over my head." Is there one platform or AI you'd specifically focus on first, whether it's relevance or relevance?
It depends on the task at hand.
Yeah.
For example, if I want to clone myself, then you've got to think the easiest one is like a HeyGen, right? But then you've got captions, and then you've got influencer AI. Like there's so many of them. Right now, you're probably seeing the growth of UGC creators, user-generated content. So people are selling their likeness for $250,000 now. Right? You say, give me $250,000, and you can use my likeness for anything you want it to use it for. People are actually selling the personas away. So your digital persona has currency now. Isn't that amazing? Because they need more people to do that. And yes, it can be AI generated, but if it's a real person, my prediction in the next 2 to 3 years, every company will have its own in-house KOL, key opinion leader. And that KOL will promote their products and services as a UGC creator, which means I can have, like people have affiliates, that, especially in the fitness industry, you want to sell supplements, you want to sell, training programs. Imagine if I could have 1 million affiliates promoting my products and services.
And automated with AI.
Automated. This is the future that we're going to be living in.
Where do you think this will end up in like 10 years' time? Like longer term predictions of where this will go?
10 years' time, I predict that people will not have jobs. right? Our AIs will be talking to other AIs. So, for example, let's say we want to set this podcast up. Daniel wouldn't have introduced us, and then it would have just been Daniel's AI talking to my AI, connected to your AI, and the AI is having a conversation. Linked to our calendars, and it says, and we would never have to communicate. I would just show up, right, and be like, and the AI would have done it. So when I showed you Nova before, Nova stands for Next Generation Optimized Assistant. So let's say you and I want to go for dinner tonight. I'm like, okay, let's book a table. Traditionally, you have to pick up your phone, look at the restaurant, look at what star reviews it's got, and then see if there's an availability for a booking. Then you book it, then you pay a deposit, and you show up, right?
Yeah.
So many friction points. Now, Nova, book me a restaurant tonight with Chinese food, because it knows, like if I ask Nova what type of food, it's going to say, oh, John. I say, I'm hungry today. In fact, look, let's do it. Let's do it live, right? So let me open up Nova. And we'll do this. Nova, I'm hungry. What type of food should I eat? So now it's going to find my preference.
You're always on the move. So something high in protein and low in carbs to keep your energy steady sounds ideal. Maybe grilled chicken or salmon with some veggies. Or if you're in the mood for something comforting, how about some of your mom's char siu? That hit the spot, wouldn't it?
So it knows, because I'm trying to get fit now, like cutting out my carbs and stuff like that. So I've been feeding a lot of stuff, so it gets relevant. So it knows my preference, right? So then it's going to go, okay, based on these restaurants, John doesn't like the Michelin star Chinese food. He loves home cooked Chinese food because it tastes tastier, right? So then it'll find all those restaurants based on my preference, and then it'll find that hotel or restaurant, and it'll talk to that AI. It'll book the system. It'll have my credit cards on file. It'll deposit it in, and then it just sends me the time, and we just show up.
So one of the things I think about and speak about a lot with, I can see this is coming with, you said AI working together and people not having jobs, is that people need to be successful now faster than ever before. Because what does society look like in 10 years when there isn't any jobs?
Okay, so that's where we talk about universal credit, right?
Yeah.
So now, but the problem is, even if, let's say you and I got paid 1,000 credits a month, you and I as entrepreneurs would figure out a way to get more of it. Am I right?
Yeah, hustle for more credits.
Of course. I mean, so that's always going to be there. So then when you ask me, what do I see changing in the future? There will be no fiat. Right? In fact, look at what's happening with banks right now. You try and put some money into a crypto account, they put fraud accounts on there. You can't do this because they want to stop us from putting money into it. Right? Because based on how people do this, they take the money, put it in the bank lends it out, you get paid interest. Right? So that means if less people are putting money in the bank, what's happening? They have no money to invest. Right? So they know it's going into what we call the digital play. In this case, the blockchain play. I'm just talking about crypto, I'm talking about blockchain. The blockchain is the technology. So then if you and I know that all this AI stuff's getting big, then what blockchain evolutions are coming out? AI, Web3, blockchain. Because why? It's got real utility now. So if I'm using your AI and I'm getting coached by you and I get to learn how to build big muscles, then how do I get charged for that? So you get charged per minute. But when you upload fiat or dollars into this AI to use it, the credits will run out, but that fiat will get converted into token. So everyone, in my personal opinion, in the next foreseeable future, will eventually all have our own currency. Just like you'll have a Solana, I'll have a Bitcoin, and Juliet will have an Ethereum, right? And Dave will have a NIA, right? But if it's all different currencies, it's like an exchange rate, isn't it? Right, I can change pound into dollar, just like I can change, a JL coin, right, into a Charlie coin.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So, because when I buy this water, all I get is water, and I can drink it. That's all I get. But imagine if I buy the water and everyone else is buying the water, then what happens to my token price? It increases. And when
Supply and demand.
Yeah, well, exactly. But think about it. That's why community is so important more than ever, because it's one thing that AI cannot replace.
So would you say for anyone who's building a business listening to this, that's one of the key foundations they need to put in? Because within our own businesses, we had a live event yesterday, we do live events pretty much every month. We hammer to the death to that, because in my opinion, although people are more connected than ever before, they're actually probably more disconnected than ever before because of mobile devices.
Yeah. Well, it's something that it has to come in. right? In fact, in the future, you won't even have to do the event, right? Because something that I'm actually exploring right now, because I travel. Every month I'm in a different country speaking, right? So we probably speak at about 200 events a year. So that's a lot of speaking. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should, just calm down a little bit. So then I looked at the hologram technology. I don't know if have you tried on the Apple Vision Pros?
No.
Oh my God. If you put them on now, you get teleported into the Himalayas. You're on top of a mountain, you see clouds moving in the background, you'll look back and you'll see mountains going on the back, you look forward, your eyes, it's a bit freaky, you cannot tell the difference. The only thing is that makes it real is because you can touch a table, okay, I'm not there, right? So why do I say that? Because, and you've been to Vegas a few times, right? So you've probably seen the Michael Jackson show.
Yeah.
Right? So a hologram appears on stage, but you can tell it's a bit fake. But what if I told you that, imagine how most events are done. You have a hotel room, you book the hotel room, and your stage is like carpeted. Imagine the stage is LED, and let's say you have a stage here, your camera's facing you now, and as you talk, you are presenting here, but you're now being beamed up in a hotel somewhere in Japan, right? Or in UK, wherever it is, but you're here. But what you see is the audience in front of you, just like you would see in a Vision Pro.
Yeah.
Right? And let's say for whatever reason you're like, John, I'm not sure how this stuff works. And I can't speak in Japan. Then I just basically do this.
The skills you can learn is the power of artificial intelligence, learning that how to put into businesses and learning how to monetize it. Fähigkeiten, die sie lernen können, ist die Macht der künstlichen Intelligenz zu lernen, wie man in Unternehmen zu setzen und zu lernen, wie man es zu Geld zu machen. あなたが学ぶことができるスキルは人工知能の力を学ぶことであり、それをビジネスに投入し、収益化する方法を学ぶことである。
Even if that's something to talk about, with the ability of AI to create content of you and repurpose it into different language.
This is old, by the way. So the reason I show you that is the next evolution of that. You're speaking on stage now, but you're being beamed up in Japan. You're being beamed up in Croatia or wherever, right? But you're speaking in English. But as it goes through the speakers, it live translates to them into their language, and it syncs with your voice. They ask you a question in Japanese, it comes back through the speakers as English, and now you can converse. That means you can expand. Like if you're a fitness trainer and you can only speak English, then you're kind of linked to that market. But with this new technology, you can take. So one thing that I do, I take a business, translate it to different language, and then basically blow up in that different country.
In my opinion, that's one of the things that's going to level the playing field a lot, because in my opinion, the English market is the most competitive and first to market from a digital marketing standpoint, which is why we work with a lot of coaches from different nationalities. And generally, if they're in another nationality, it's way easier because it's not at the same level of market sophistication. With that being the case, would you say it's more important than ever for people to build a personal brand, to then be able to maybe leverage some of these tools to have the credibility and authority to then maximize that to its full potential?
Okay, yes and no. Let me answer this in a certain way. Problem is, if you become the personal brand, the whole business revolves around you, right? So, and this happened to me once. So let's say you have a business partner, two business partners, right? And you both become really famous, right? One person leaves, and it's like a band, right? When you have a band and one lead singer leaves, right? Can this band still survive? Yeah, it can, but it's not as good. So what people have to do, they need to brand themselves to pull, and then they need to co-brand everyone else underneath them. So then you're not reliant on it. Again, you asked me the question at the start, what should people be focusing on? As a coach, you are the person having to deliver that coaching and mentoring. That means every time you're trading, you're kind of trading time for money, which is why if you're going to do that, then at least AI a big part of that. Then you split into two sections, tactics and strategy. So for example, when I'm consulting companies, I charge $5,000 an hour, right? But I've got to physically be there and sit down with them. Right, so it's just going to sound really bad. It's not worth the time, right? Because I got to travel. It doesn't make sense. So then I say, okay, that's fine. You can pay for this. So speak to my AI with the tactical things, like step by step, how to make a reel go viral, how do I generate cheaper leads, how to put an ad on YouTube, how do I, build a big list, how do I convert it? That's the tactical things, and you'll know. 80% of the things you coach people on, 80% is the same questions, right?
Probably even more, like 95.
95, but it's only the 5% which is actually strategy based or something tactically that they need to implement tailored to them or some kind of mindset shift. That's where you come in. That's where your value is, and that's where your time should be spent, and that's where you should actually be monetizing.
Where do you think most people are spending the majority of their time at the moment?
In the 95%. Yeah.
And do you think that's where they're just getting distracted?
Well, because they're in it, right? If you're working in the business, you can't come out of it to scale it. So you're constantly doing this and you're missing all these opportunities over here. It's funny, I spoke to my friend on the way here in the car, and he said, John, you know, all this stuff that you've been doing in this like Web3 blockchain stuff, like I know you made a lot of money in business here, but actually you should have made 10 times the amount in this. I thought, oh my God, you're absolutely right. But because I've been involved in the businesses, because, you know, my goal is to get to 100 companies this year. We're at 29 now, 29 companies, and 4 of them are unicorns, right? So that's my goal, is to build out 100 companies that make $1 million each, and that's 100 million, right? So if you put it into a shell, it's now worth 10 times that, right? Or you put it into what we call a roll-up. So one company owns all these 100 companies here. That means it's worth 10 times, so it's worth $1 billion, right? That's in the first year, but the goal is to actually get to 1,000, right?
So 10 billion.
Yeah, but no, because
1,000 company,
because you have 1,000, that's $1 billion.
Yeah,
and you have a 10 times multiple, it's 10 billion.
Yeah,
right. So the whole idea of this is to make sure that we are doing things that has scale. And the problem is, if you're in it, you can't scale it because you're constantly in it, and then you're always fighting fire.
So let's talk about that. What's the best way, with your experience, AI tools, knowledge you have, for someone to start remove themselves from the business, or see where the points of friction are, where they're stuck in it?
First thing is AI themselves immediately. Record everything you do. That's why I carry this thing around me everywhere. I just turn it on. I literally, hey, here, I'm doing a podcast, and we're talking about artificial intelligence. Right here with Charlie, he's got an incredible podcast. You should all listen to it. And if you want to grow, then so basically I just talk, and I just document things every single day. As soon as I do that, I click stop, it uploads to my Google Drive. And then all my editors get on it and start editing stuff up. Now I'm going to have another department on there, which is my AI team. So the AI team will extract all the information, start building the knowledge base. So it's not just about building content, we build knowledge base. And I'm so glad you have 200 plus episodes. Your knowledge base is already there. Yeah. It just needs to be put into a place with the right language models and the right, guardrails. And I basically got a digital version of you.
We've probably got 200-300 YouTube videos and maybe 300 other videos on other YouTube channels.
Oh my
God.
Wild.
There's thousands of videos.
So your coaching calls, have you recorded all your coaching calls?
Yeah, they're all on Zoom and Google Drive files.
Beautiful.
We've got like 10, probably 100,000 hours of
Beautiful.
videos.
So you take all that content, put it into knowledge base, put a guardrail around there to, put out any private information, any company information, any figures, revenue figures, things like that. So if you ask it a question on that, it will keep it secret. You see, when you have open AI, it's good, it's powerful. Problem is it hallucinates. You make stuff up. But if you take your knowledge base and it's pulling from knowledge base, it's closed. So the chance of hallucination is very low. It's not going to make stuff up because it's from your knowledge base.
What's the best way for someone practically to do that, who's listening to this, who's like, I have all this information, maybe I've got all the sales calls I've ever taken, I want to try and upload these. What's the platform they should do that, and what would that look like?
Easiest thing, like we've done right now, look, Otter is now transcribing all these different words, right? So later I can summarize, give it to you, you can use it for like show notes, it's done, right? So every coaching session the coach does should really be, obviously if you're training, you can't have your phone there, just wear a microphone, just record it, and just record everything you do from now on, transcribe it all, and stick into a knowledge base. Then what we do is we're going to create, let's say, an AI avatar, right? Or let's keep it even more simple than that. Chat Race. So chatrace.ai is basically a bot conversational based on questions that you ask. So that's probably the easiest one they can start with. So you would have, because on your phone now you can have about 10 WhatsApp numbers, right? So you just create a WhatsApp called, I don't know, what's the main question that people ask you about fitness?
Most people probably ask of like, what type of protein should I eat? What protein powder should I buy?
So like,
stupid like that.
Nutrition,
right?
Yeah,
nutrition.
So we'll probably have something like Charlie Nutrition, and then probably do people tell you about gym, like how do you work out? Okay, so then you'd have like maybe Charlie workouts, maybe, right? And then probably is anything else?
Mindset, maybe.
Mindset, okay. Charlie motivation. You have 3 WhatsApps now, right? Each one of these WhatsApps are designed to do one thing. One is to make you eat clean. That's all it does. The other one is building muscle, and the other one is like keeping you motivated so you don't give up. 3 different types of WhatsApps, because people are already on WhatsApp anyway. Here's the thing. People say, why WhatsApp? Why not on something else? Because WhatsApp, there's no friction on it. Like you wake up in the morning, I mean, currently at the time they're recording this, that's what most people are using. So you need to meet people where they are. So you can create a AI WhatsApp channel or or talk. So now people are paying money for your watch to get access to a private. Now they can ask you any question on nutrition, and it'll pull from your database. Actually, you shouldn't eat meat. You should do this, or actually, you should become a vegan and do this. But the good thing about this, because you have so many coaching sessions, if someone's vegan and someone's not vegan, someone's vegetarian, someone's just doing carnivore diet, it's a different for all 4 people, isn't it? But your AI is going to know the difference.
Can you also set that up so it replies with voice notes as well on there with AI?
You can. So then, but then you need to clone your voice first.
Yeah.
So then you have to feed that through. So what you have to do text to text,
Yeah.
text to speech, and then
Speech to WhatsApp.
And then, yeah, correct. So that's what we call, the agents. You got 3 agents there, and those 3 agents would then be chained together using like a Relevance AI.
And then what's the best audio AI platform you use? So like we've used 11 Labs quite a lot. I don't know if there's anything else you'd recommend.
11 Labs is probably the best actually out of all of them in terms of accuracy. But honestly, like even CapCut comes with audio recording. This is the thing. Everyone's kind of doing the same thing. It's like when Facebook ads came out, the first time it came out, all the platforms start modeling it. So it's actually not what software you use. Actually, that's not the important question. The important question is, how do you deploy the strategy to the AI for the right tool for the job you want to get done? That's how people need to be thinking.
Yeah, my mind's racing with ideas now.
Right. You see, now you can produce anything.
Yeah.
If I can compose my own song,
Yeah.
right? Because I wanted to create a genre of like, like sometimes you hear rap music and it's cool, right? It's got a good beat, but it's like a lot of swearing and things in it. And I was like, okay, my kids don't want to listen to this. I want to listen to music that uplifts me, that motivates me. So I want to create a genre of like motivational music. So it just, when you listen to this, you get uplifted. So I wrote this song called Rise and Shine, right? And I used AI to write it, and it's got this good beat to it. And plus, when as entrepreneurs, we got to get into flow state. So there's certain hertz, like 438 hertz, different hertz that put you into certain like flow state, right? So when you listen to it, it actually is going to activate some of the flow state in you, so you can execute more.
One thing I think is interesting. So TikTok looks like it's getting banned in the US. I think as of the end of this
Unless
week.
Elon buys it.
What do you think the likelihood of there being some type of legislation or restriction on AI as the power of that grows? And do you think that's something they can even control?
It's going to become. I've not even talked about emotional AI yet, right? Like, have you ever had an AI flirt with you?
No.
Oh my god! Like when my wife listens to me talking to, like, it's like, is she flirting with you?
Yeah.
Like they know. Think about it. Think of how powerful the machine is, right? If I tell you what's 1 + 1, you say 2. Okay, divided by 8 times 0.24 times 50. Your brain can't even do that calculation. A computer and AI can do it in a split second. Now you have the quantum chip. A quantum chip can do a 1 quadrillion, right, in 5 minutes, what a supercomputer can do. What does that mean? Like 1,000 trillions can be done in 5 minutes of data in a supercomputer, or what we call a quantum chip. So if you think about this for a second, the technology speed is so fast, so quick, that it's so hard to keep up with this.
So I've heard about this before being theorized about like being like super AI, the next version of it, plus that type of quantum computing being put together and basically weaponized by Russia, US, or whoever, or basically whoever has those two things together controls the world and can hack crypto wallets and do whatever they want. Is that something you think could be a reality, or something that people should be concerned of?
I mean, it's evolution, right? I mean, but the thing is, every time you have something new comes out, something always is built. Okay, it's like a double-edged sword, right? There's both sides of it. You got the yin and the yang. So just as powerful it is to decrypt Bitcoin, it's going to be also equally as powerful to create
protection
measures to do that. You see what I mean? So it's a double-edged sword. With great power comes great responsibility, right? So then the question is, well, what is the intention? I mean, you must have people or heard of people where they pretend to be you, they go to the people, and then they, go and buy this meme coin, right? And then they get rug pulled, right? Unfortunately, that is happening, right? It's happened to a lot of big friends of mine, celebrity friends of mine, and they're pretending to be them. You heard about that girl who thought she was talking to Brad Pitt? Yeah. Brad Pitt was in a hospital chair, and she sent him like $500,000, and it was the fake Brad Pitt. So this is why people have to be super careful, only deal with like verified accounts. If people ever ask you to send money over the internet or over a DM, do check with that company first or that person first before doing anything like that.
You're obviously super successful, obviously very high level at what you do. You mentioned there in terms of being a high performance entrepreneur, in terms of listening to certain hertz of music and beats. Is there anything else you do to optimize your own routine to
definitely
be at the highest level performing you can do? I see you've got a Whoop band on.
Oh, this is like, I don't just have this, I've got this, Ultra Human, and Apple Watch.
Okay.
So I actually test all three and optimize all three. Because actually this one is not accurate in terms of, it's got a lot of stuff in it, but I find that Ultra Human is more accurate for sleep, for example.
Yeah,
but
that's
this
why I
one's,
use an Aura Ring.
Yeah. So, but this one's, so then you got to take figures from all three and then you draw a parallel. Because if I say, oh, you've only been sleeping 5.5 hours, but my ring says 6 hours and 10 minutes, like there's a difference in how you feel. So that's why data is a new currency. So one of the biggest ones, so one of my partners, she does a lot of breathwork practices. And you know what I've noticed? Because I'm into a lot of this biohacking stuff. Breathwork, you can optimize your breath to initiate flow state, right? So there's different ways of breathing. For example, she talks about this 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. Right, because it's actually quite hard to breathe out for 8 seconds. If you do that, it will just calm your entire nervous system. Now you have thought process. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, we do a lot of stuff and we got the foggy thinking. We're trying to feel, what's that thing? You got fog. You can just clear the fog with certain breath work. If you want to feel energized, instead of taking a double espresso, you can do that. This, not hyperventilating, but there's a way to do it. She calls it a cellular orgasm, right? Because what happens is when you do that type of breath work, all your hands, they start feeling tingly afterwards, because that's why you're breathing in so much air, there's no carbon dioxide in your, and that's why you start feeling this. So you start feeling tingly and a bit lightheaded, but afterwards it flushes, all the oxygen flushes into your body, and then you feel euphoric. So there's these techniques that I use, like even in the car, coming here, it's like, I'm doing a podcast, right? So that, or she calls this box breathing. Box breathing is really powerful for entrepreneurs. So basically it's like a box. So and this is how she describes it. Okay, so imagine we're having a box now. So you breathe in 4 seconds, hold it 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and then hold out for 4 seconds, right? And then it gets even, if you want to go next level, you combine breath work with cold plunge and hot saunas, right? And then that just improves your immune system, improves your cognitive thought process. You have more clarity of thought, making better. Because think about it, we are CEOs of company. What is the most important thing that we've got? The decision to make the power to make good decisions. We make a bad decision because we didn't have enough sleep one day. We got out of the wrong side. We feeling too much anxiety. Like, you're going to make bad decisions, and that's where stuff happens.
Do you think this is something that was probably been swept under the rug for like a long time, and now people start to become aware of? And when did you really become aware of the importance of optimizing yourself as an entrepreneur first before the business?
It's health optimization, diet, right? What you put into your body, right? If you put bad stuff into your body, you can't think properly. Like when I'm on stage, like there's certain foods I have to eat and not eat, right? Or even things like, if you want to get really advanced, I've got another friend of mine. He actually trains some of the team from Manchester City. And he talks about in our body, we have basically points of pain and trauma locked in parts of our body. So we need to unrelease it, right? So, I was on stage, I was like, why do I feel dizzy all the time? Because I'd get these big markers and then I would draw on the flip chart, right? But when you pull it off, toxins you smell into your, right? And that's why I was feeling dizzy. So he had to come to my house, spend 2 hours with me, put it in a bench and start putting this stuff under my nose and then fixing all the, I guess, he calls it like pressure points, which are linked to parts of our body that automatically emit a response, right? So if I did this test to you on your shoulder, I could basically, there's things that you eat that weaken your entire body. Like you're strong, but if I did this thing to you, you would go weak straight away.
With your routine and the success you've had, what do you think are the other like key habits and tasks people need to implement to really get to where they want to be in life and be successful, to maximize their output and have clarity in thought and even like planning a strategy? Okay,
if I said to you in your business right now, what is the number one thing that is the most important, absolute number one thing?
Reducing client churn.
Reducing
client churn.
Okay. It's interesting, right? What else?
We'll be getting a VSL profitable within the next 90 days we can scale.
See, every time I ask this question to your entrepreneurs, it's the same answers. It's either to do with marketing or revenue or some kind of client thing, right? Actually, it's got nothing to do with that. And this was taught to my good friend of mine called John Davey, right? And he talks about the NPS. You know what NPS is?
No.
Net Promoter Score, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Net Promoter Score. So if I went to all of your clients and I said, would you refer Charlie's program to your friend, right? Now, you and I have been to events, programs, masterminds that we love, but we never invite our friends there. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. And because of certain reasons, so they won't get it, it's too this, it's too that, it's too much hard sell, whatever it is, right? The NPS states that you should be wanting to invite your mum there, or your dad there, or your brother there, or your sister there. That's the NPS. Because here's the thing, when NPS is right, everything else is right. You'll have no churn if you have a high NPS. And with our industry, the NPS industry standard is 67 points. So when you calculate the NPS, so basically 8, 9, and 10 is a +1.
Yeah.
7's a neutral. Anything below 7 is a -1. So,
And you just take that across your entire client base.
yeah, just send an email out. Here's the NPS score, and the key question is scale of 1 to 10. How likely would you refer my program to to someone else? And they give you a 1 -1. They give you a 10 +1. 7 stays 0.
So we're tracking that, but I haven't worked that out. So I'm fascinated to see what that is.
Yeah, but you'll see. And what you'll see is the higher your NPS score, everything else, your lead gen will be good, right? Okay, let's just take one of these, right? Let's say your customer services department.
And does that work the same for software businesses as well?
All business,
Yeah.
everything, right? Everything. All the big, massive companies, blue chips, they all use this, right? But yet we as entrepreneurs were never taught it, right? But your NPS score is actually, and that's just what I learned from John. He's like, John, you've been doing this for 20 years, but yet you've not. I was like, oh my God. And you know how I realized that? Because the only reason we were sat around the table, I didn't know this guy called Marco. And it's like, John, I don't even know who you are, right? He said, but the only reason I'm here at this meeting is because when I went to the event, they said that I only came to this event because of John Lee. And that's why I know your NPS score will be high. So that's how you know how to work with people as well. Right? How do you partner with people? How many times have you been in the business partnership and it hasn't quite worked out, right? Check the NPS score.
And it's positive word of mouth, essentially.
Not just that, but it's actually scientific and you can measure it.
Okay.
Right? So, and because if you know someone's got a high NPS, like how many times you work with people, they sound really good, but they don't deliver back end, right?
Loads,
or they're really good at the front end, they suck at the back end. Or they're really good at the back end, they suck at the front end, right? It's very hard to find someone, especially with our industry, who can make an incredible offer, who've got a good reputation, who then can deliver and get client satisfaction. You see, there's a lot of things that people do in our industry that affect the NPS score because they want short-term money. Right? So actually, sometimes to increase NPS, you got to sacrifice profit to create value. And that's where brand comes in. And a lot of people don't understand that.
So let's go into that. If someone's looking to go down that route to focus on increasing NPS, build up their brand, even if it's sacrificing short-term profit, what would be type of strategies, tools that you've used, have you seen work?
Okay, so now it's a really fine balance. You have to balance it the right way. If you balance the wrong way, you tip one side, your business is over. You tip the other side, you make a lot of money, but your reputation's over. So how do you find this tipping point? So there's a concept called market in public, sell in private. So if you look at my Instagram channel, you're like, John, I didn't even know you were speaking here, right? I've put some things on there today because it's like short notice, but I don't sell anything on my Instagram page. People don't even know what it. I have people, John, what do you do? I know you're an entrepreneur, but what do you do? I
had to Google and I looked through the website and then I obviously put 2 and 2 together.
Right. So, I mean, my business model is very simple. I speak on stage around the world and then business come to me and say, John, can you help our business grow? Yep. Give me a fee and some equity and I'm in. And then I put a management team in there. We put our team and we help it scale. Right. That's the very simple business model. But when you look at how people are conducting business right now, they don't have systems in place to do it. Right? They're not in a place like when you're marketing in public, like that's just basically who you are and how you can help people. You know, some people will only make a post if it only gets like 1,000. Like I'll show you. Look, my views and engagement isn't that great, but you see how many people saw it in the last 30 days.
Yeah,
3.7 million went through my page in the last 30 days. But I don't care about the likes and engagement. Right? What I care about is this. Like if I bring up this one. Okay, so can you see this one's had 1 million views?
Yeah.
But can you see
non-followers?
Non-followers.
That's what you want.
That's what I want. I don't want
new eyeballs.
I don't want engagement. I don't want comments. I don't want likes. I want new eyeballs. As long as I'm getting reach and impressions and new audiences seeing me, then I know my business is going up. This is why you have to protect your NPS score. Because if the first time someone sees you trying to sell them something, what do people think?
Is there a type of ratio you think that people should push from sales post to value?
Never sell on your page. Never. Market in public, sell in private. Say, well, John, how do you sell then? So I invested in this other company, and it's called Mobile Monkey. And what they do is now they've involved to customers.ai. So what they do is, you know that if people engage with your post, right? If you ever put things like link in bio, right? Your engagement goes down. If you ever try and sell something, your engagement goes down. If you try and promote something, engagement goes down. So it can't seem like an ad. It's got to seem like content.
Organic.
Right? Or organic. So then if I say something like, oh, this is the best tip to get more clients. And if you're a fitness trainer, you're attracting the same market, because people don't share ads, but they share content. So to share the content, then you say, by the way, DM the word this. So you have all the DMs go in, and then you automate into DM automation. Within the DM automation, then they click a link, speak to conversational AI. Conversational AI would talk to them to qualify, or use incredible app like Score App, for example. Yeah. That will qualify a lot of the leads. Then they've set that lead. By the time they jump on the call, deal's done. That's how you sell.
Yeah, we use AI a lot in our fitness business and run setters on that. So that's, particularly with very high message volumes, has been very effective for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a really good way to. So now you're never being seen to sell, right? Now you're just having a conversation.
Would you ever sell on your stories, or just not at all?
Stories,
like social proof?
Sometimes stories. But that's why people need to have like 10 Instagram accounts, not just one, right? Because one, like if you look at, like if I show you this main account here, so this strategy I use, I call compound marketing. So this one you've seen hits 3.7 million people in 30 days, right? But if I look at my John Lee Success account, this one is like, it's only got 3,000 plus followers. But if you look at the reach on that, each one's reaching 700 to 1,000 people, right? So that means if my team can make 3 posts a day, I reach 3,000 new eyeballs. So let's do the calculation together. 3,000 new eyeballs on one account, if I post 3 times a day, times 365, gives me 1 million views from one account. If I have 10 of those accounts, I get an extra 10 million views. With a 1% conversion, I pick up an extra 100,000 clients. So I'll do $1 million a month.
And then you put in the same content into each account and just put different times.
Completely different. It has to be completely different. Has to be. If you look at the content on this page, you see it's all the same, right?
Yeah.
It's just me talking to head, right? As you can see. But if you look at my John Lee account, this is very different stuff. It's more branded stuff. You see?
Yeah, it's higher end.
Yeah. So it's like, me with Deepak Chopra. I just finished with Deepak Chopra, right? And then it's just got a lot of my content, or like me on stage with like 5,000 people, right? So it's really the answer is always, what is the intention? And then everything needs to go towards that. Because if your intention is just to get views and likes, it looks good. But honestly, how many people I know have got millions of followers but are broke?
Oh, I know,
right?
Particularly in the fitness industry.
Yeah, but how many people do I know who've got less than 10,000 followers, but they're making like 100 grand in a month? So it's how you engineer it. And I guess when people come to me is like, I can help figure out what that strategy is and unlock the money inside it.
What would you say is the best advice for people not to get pulled in for like the wrong vanity metrics? Because I think that's one of the things that happens to a lot of entrepreneurs. We get like red shiny object syndrome all the time, and we get pulled down the garden path because Phil down the road is doing X, Y, Z and said he's doing really well, but he didn't actually tell you how difficult it was to do the thing. Yeah. He just said the end part with like the golden like rainbow at the end. What would be your advice to try and like almost where you should maybe look at other avenues or things to try, or where you should just try and like double down on what you're currently doing? So, okay, here's how I see it. A lot of people, again, it's what's the intention? Do you want to have like lots of followers and be broke, or do you want to be not so big but be rich, right? And people are going to say they don't want both, right? Eventually you'll get there, but you need to start with one or the other, right? And so, for example, when I first started my journey, I started in real estate. So a lot of people ask me, John, how do you invest in property? How do you do this? How do you do that? So I would just teach them the specific strategy. And that's how I started. I didn't have millions of followers. And then that first strategy, I would use ads. Then I put up some YouTube videos, right? And then the more people that watch the content, then what happens is you start to get this balance. So for me, I would always start with, if I was to start again, I would say start organic and then retarget the ads, right?
That's the easiest way to start. It's free to start.
And then you basically retargeting like 50% watch time on say videos, for example.
Yeah, but here's the thing: do not retarget with an ad.
Retarget with organic content.
Right?
So this is basically something we run. We call it like the influence engine, or essentially we retarget at every different level, from like problem aware to solution aware to basically product aware, and we'll retarget the previous video to basically pull people through that funnel, so they're getting like a almost engineered organic experience, although it's not organic, it's paid, but they don't realize.
You see, that's why NPS is so important, right? You got to ask yourself, like whatever decision you're going to make as you pull them through the funnel, if I do that, is it going to affect my NPS score? And it almost always does.
It's in if it's pushing too heavily from a sales perspective.
Yes.
Or would you ever retarget your existing client base with something to try and improve, say, for example, the NPS score?
Yes, absolutely. Like
what would be
creating
an
things to
example
give.
of that?
Well, I run an event,
Yeah.
right? Or I might run a meetup, or I might create a software for people that they can use, because you want people to say good things. A real reputation is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Like, I made the mistake early on. Like, when I first started my entrepreneur, I was selling really hard.
Yeah.
Right? And it did, like, did affect some stuff. Right? And then as I matured, as I got older, I started to refine that. So, like, then how do you sell something and be classy about it? Right? How do you sell something and not feel like you're being sold? How do you sell something where people know they need it? So one of the things I actually do, now I don't sell something unless people want to be sold to. Right? So you can do something very elegant, something like let's say you just ran an event. How many days was it?
That was just one, it's like a small workshop. We've got a big event in March, will be 2 days.
Okay, so let's say March, right? And you have what? How many people are going to show up?
120?
Right, 120 people. So 120 people show up. Imagine you go there, right? And you just give all your best content, all the things that you've learned, and they love it. And then you record it as well. And you don't sell anything, right? And people are like, it's weird. I was expecting, it's so funny because like in the early days when I would like put an event on and then sell something, and then now the more I do things, I'm like, oh, I was expecting you to offer me something, but you didn't. And now they're chasing you. Oh, like, hey, what's the next level, right? You get that. What's the next level? What else can I invest? Oh, well, it's funny you should ask. You should go and have a chat to my team. Now it's very organic and it's classy. And anyway, you don't want to sell to people you don't want to be sold to.
It's funny you say that, because ever since we started doing the events, I pitched at one event and it tanked, and I've seen it happen loads again. I don't know what your opinion is this. I think there's a big cultural difference selling events in the US, North America versus UK and the UK, in particular in my niche. I've never seen it work particularly well. So that's why I was like, the first time it didn't work, it's like, I'm just going to lead with tons of value and like subtle social proof throughout the 2 days. And then we end up selling loads out the back end because we're not actually aggressively on top of people.
Right. Like, and this is what I mean. Marketing in public, selling private. Of course, as a business, you have to sell something. How are you going to feed yourself? How are you going to pay your team? How are you going to have this beautiful like set? You cannot not do it. Right? It's a must, but it's the way you do it. And sometimes it's going to cost you money, front end. Right? Like, But the way you got to look at it is like, so here's how I see it now. If I put something on like that, I'm investing in my brand.
Yeah.
It's a cost. I'm investing in my brand.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Invest in my brand. I'm going to get good content from this. I'm going to get amazing testimonials from this. I'll plaster it all out on the internet. So it's funny because like, I don't know how long you've been doing this, but I've been in this 20 years. So at some point in your career, you're going to get some haters. And
I've had a lot of that.
Then you know what I'm talking about. But the funny thing is our customers look at 1 or 2 or even 10. Let's say there's 100 bad comments, right? Let's say there's 100 bad comments on you, but they don't see the 10 million people's lives that you've changed. And they make a judgment on that. And I think that's very short-sighted, which is why you need to create a lot of this stuff.
Huge amount of reciprocity.
Right, because for every one negative, you need 1,000 positives now.
Do you think that's because people are so skeptical of everything, almost particularly so like digitally online now?
Yeah, and also now with the creation of AI now, okay, what do you think the number one reason why people buy from you?
Client results and testimonials,
right?
And proof of concept,
right? It's just one question they've got in the mind.
Yeah.
Can you help me achieve what I want to achieve right now? And it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? I know if I say, hey Charlie, can I? My arms are a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you get that? All right. I would trust you because I can see how big your arms are. Right? Like that is social proof that is you. But then if you've done that with someone else, I'm like, okay, that's the second time. So this is why you'll find, and a lot of people listening to this, the sales cycles from 2020 till now has got a lot longer. It's probably, you have to work 10 times as hard to get the same result now.
It's funny you say that, because I set my online business 2018, left my full-time job as a estate agent 25th February 2019. And I've seen a big transition since then. And really the way we pitch what we do at Seven Figure Scaling Systems is I've sold over $10 million of fitness products online myself, got 2 Comma Club X awards, all that type of jazz.
Amazing.
So I'm like the highest level of authority of actually like doing the thing, but I'm also teaching all these other people doing it. And we have multiple trainers doing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. So it's like, he's done it, they can do it. So at that point, it's irrefutable that it clearly works.
Right, it clearly works. And people are still skeptical.
Oh, 100%.
Right? And
but
you can give them all the, do you know what to do the other day? Like, the guy asked me a question. So, John, how rich are you? Right? He literally asked me the question in the podcast. And he said, because, like, a lot of people talk. And he said, and he goes, yeah, well, you're worth this, but what's your cash flow? And I just opened my phone and said, that's how much I got. And he was like, okay. Right? Like, you got to do shit like that now. Like, it's so weird. I never had to do that on a podcast or thing before. It's insane. Right? But yet, people are so skeptical. They want social proof. Right? And it's just like, what has the world come to? So now we have to think like them. This is why the sales cycles are getting longer. First of all, there's more competition. There's more noise. Everyone's a creator and a coach now, right? So then how do you break through that? How do you cut through that noise? So you have to spend... So people like, my team would say to me, John, we're flying all around the world doing all these keynotes. You could just be at home and do it on your computer. Of course. Right? Because they see how much revenue comes out. Just sit there, and then sometimes we do like replays, and like I'm not even there sometimes, right? But most of the times I am if I'm going to do it online. And if I say it's live, it'll be live. So then why would I do the same thing like 8,000 miles away? Because why? Creates positioning, creates trust, creates brand. I had a student come to me, and she said, John, and we're having like the breaks during the lunch, and she was sat next to me. She's like, John, I have to tell you, I thought you weren't a real person. I said, what do you mean? Like, I thought you was like an AI or something, like, but you're actually, and she literally put her hand on my arm and said, I know you're actually real. Right? And how I am, and you'll know this, how I am on stage, how I am on camera, and how I am with people, I'm exactly the same.
Authentic.
Well, I mean, it's just me.
Yeah.
Right? But some people, you've probably met these people who on stage, they're this, online, they're a different person. When you meet them, they're completely different. So you got to get that alignment in. And I think that is what's going to cut through all the noise.
There's a framework I think about a lot that we try and really focus on marketing is like proof over promises. So just constantly just like throwing proof down people's throats of like what we've done, and also like clients at that point, and then lead with as much value as possible. Is that really, you think, the way people should be looking to market now?
Yes and no. Okay. Answer your question yes and no. I'll tell you why. So I used to run a lot of events. My whole goal was doing this is to find great people to work with.
Yeah.
But the problem is, and you know what it is, you have to manage it because the costs are so high. Cost per lead's gone up. Your marketing costs, show rate's gone down. So like in the past, I used to do a lot of stuff for free. Right? And what I found was, could you monetize it? Yes, you can. But it attracts the wrong people. Right? Also, depending how much money you charge, attracts the wrong people. Right? So now, even if I do something for free, right? Let's say, okay, I'm in Dubai. I'm going to do like a fan meet, whatever, right? I'm going to have 500 people show up, but now you got to be the right people to get in, even though it's free. So actually, I had one person who enrolled into a program, and then my friend sent me a message. Oh, I see this person has enrolled into the program. This is her profile, right? And so I'm like, okay. So we had a decision. Do we want to take someone like this? Because you put one bad apple in, you finish. Yeah. You finish. I'd rather not take the money and say, thank you. Today's is unfortunately, we're not able to because of X, Y, Z. Right? So now it's not even about the money. It's the type of person you bring in now. So when I'm putting my events on, if it's a physical event, or if it's like, if I've got to put some kind of cost, they got to qualify to get in. You have to tell me who you are, what you do, what your website is. If you're not even willing to fill that form in to tell me what it is, there's no chance of partnership.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Unless you know that person. Having
more gatekeepers essentially to protect what you have.
Yeah, because as your brand grows, you have to protect your brand. Right? You can take you years to build a rep, and overnight one person, one thing happens, and it's it. You're finished. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth taking that extra money. Like, honestly, when we tell people that, like, when they want to work with us, I say to my sales team, because they're like, oh, let's drive the sales. I said, if people don't fit this criteria, don't take the money. And they're like, What?
So what's the criteria you would look to turn people away at?
First of all, attitude.
Okay, just difficult.
Just like, you've seen this.
Yeah.
I'll give you this money, but you know what? I'm not doing any work. You do the work for me.
I want it done for them.
Right? You do it for me, right? And what I find is the lower price that people pay, like, you know, the guys that pay you like the high tickets, like they don't really take much of your time. The people that pay the low tickets, they want your liver.
Yeah.
Right? So they're very difficult. I don't want difficult clients to work with. That's number one. Number two, IP you and I have developed over the years, we don't just want to give that to anyone. Like, I really want people to appreciate it. Like, do you know how much time, trials and tribulations, how much millions you've lost just to learn this one thing? And I'm giving it to you. You're like, yeah, okay, yeah, cool. That's like the golden key. So they got to really appreciate it as well, right? Third thing, are they going to implement it? Because if they don't implement, right, what happens? They pay you a ticket fee. They're like, yeah, we're going to learn this stuff. They don't get a result, and they blame you, right? And then they want the money back, right? And it's almost like a bad hire, right? Getting a client in is like hiring people into your organization. One bad hire can cost you a lot of money. So why don't we do the hiring process right from the start? We do that with our staff. Why don't we do it with our clients?
That's a good framework to think about. You've obviously mentored a lot of people, and I presume had a lot of mentorship yourself. What's the big criteria you look for in terms of finding someone to solve the next problem you have, or the problem you don't even know exists?
The number one is, are they in alignment with me?
Okay.
Right? I can meet someone who's way more wealthy than I am. The values and core is not aligned. Right? If they just like, okay, is it just about money or is it about impact? And some people, it's money first, impact. But if I look at some of the decisions I've done, my team, like, you're crazy. Like, it doesn't financially make sense for you to do that because it costs you money. But I want the impact. And I literally have put millions of dollars on the table, not taking it for whatever reason. We turn them down because it's not in alignment. Right? That's why when I said, okay, do you know when I made the post on, so I came here, I took a picture of me in Burj Khalifa, and I'm being a tourist, right? And I said, I'm in Dubai. How many messages I got? I'll show you the message like, John, are you available for this? Can we meet here? I'd love to give you a tour of this. Can you come to... Like, all these requests. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go to my friend who I trust. I messaged Daniel, said, hey, I'm going to be in Dubai. Bro, what podcast do you think I should be on? Right? And he referred, and, you know, of course, you're one of them. And I trust him. And of course, now I've met you, now I know, of course, yeah. Right? But sometimes you go on other people's stuff and you don't know. Sometimes it's a hit and miss. Sometimes some fall through the net. So it's not always perfect. But I'd always go through a referral first. So why? Because I know that Daniel and I, we're in alignment together, right? We both care about the same things. Of course, we're still business-minded, but I trust his opinion. If he says, go on Charlie's podcast, he's a cool guy, he's amazing, he's a real deal, done. I'm here.
With people who've helped you throughout your career, who's had the biggest impacts on you? Like, you've spoken on stage with some of the biggest speakers in the world. What influences of people like Tony Robbins you spoke with, Brian Tracy, and who's personally mentored you to get to where you are?
I would say, honestly, my first mentor, Ying Tan. Ying Tan, do you know? When I first started, I didn't know that you had to pay these fees to have people to learn you. I just thought, oh, you're a millionaire. You can just teach me. You just give me your time. But no, he charged me £10,000 for 2 days of his time. And I didn't have the money. And I love cars. So I sold my Honda S2000 and I paid him £10,000 for 2 days of his time. Honestly, if I hadn't have taken that leap, because all my friends are like, you're crazy, you're getting scammed. Like, who charges 10,000?
That's ultimate British opinion, right? Like cultural mindset.
I know, but like you say to someone, oh yeah, I'm going for a meeting and I'm paying to be at the meeting and I'm paying 10,000. Oh, by the way, I got to sell my car to do this. I don't have the money. Everyone around you don't understand. But do you know what they say to me now? They see me driving around in Lambos and things like that, and they see my lifestyle. The same people come back to me and say, hey, can you tell me how you did it? Right?
It's funny because I get that now as well.
There you go. Right?
But everyone who laughed at me in 2018, like, why the hell are you doing all this?
Right.
It's the flip.
But the problem with our industry is that people don't believe you until you've made it. Right? That's why I always say to people, never tell people what you're doing. Right? Because they'll find a way to talk you out of it. Do it. And then show them with your don't show with your voice, show with your results. Show with your results. And then they get it, they see it. They go, makes sense now. Why he didn't go out all those times, why he didn't go drinking all the time, why he said no to me. Like you got to turn it into a habit. And so unfortunately in this industry it's a very lonely business as well. Right? Because when you look at the top, you look at the triangle, it says this, There's not that much space at the top. And what I find is the more successful you become, the less friends you have. Actually, that's what I found.
And do you find then at that point as well, you have more people who are trying to get something from you? Because I imagine you get this all the time. I get people messaging me all the time. Or, are you free to X, Y, Z? Are you free for a coffee? I was like, dude, like,
yeah,
like every day
or every phone call, like, you know.
Want something.
And by the way, I just want to put some context. When I say it becomes, you get less friends, like this, less people within a circle. Like, I've got to find that. I've got to. Everywhere I go, it's like, okay, I got to think twice. Okay, who are these people? Right. So what I'm saying is, it's not busy down here. It's at the top. You become more selective, and then people go, well, who do you think you are? Anyways, but so you got to change your circle. Right? You change your circle. Like, a lot of my friends are billionaires. So when I learn from them, I'm like, wow, they think very different. Right? So it's very counterintuitive. So less space at the top. So, but more high quality, deep connections. Not like, oh, hi, bye types of friends, like hee ha ha stuff. It's like deep, meaningful friendships. Like, Daniel is a good friend of mine. Like, when I'm going through stuff, I'll tell him. He helps me. Right? And when he's going through stuff, I help him. Right? That's a deep, meaningful friendship. You know, some people say, yeah, bro, I'll help you out. Yeah, you need help. And you call them, they don't help.
Yeah.
Daniel, I call him, he helps. He calls me, I help.
How important at that point do you think having a network of great people around you is to be successful in?
Yeah, it's actually the number one thing. You have to invest in relationships. You know, people say, yeah, but I know that person, like those celebrities. Oh, I know. Okay, give them a call, see if he or she picks up. You know the person, you got the number, but will they pick up your phone call?
Yeah.
That's a different thing, right? So that's how you know who a real true friend is. A real true friend, are they there for you? When you call them, will they pick up? When they say they're going to do something for you, will they follow through? It's so funny because when I sent it to Daniel, I wasn't thinking about it. I was going through in and out events, and he's like, and then I get a voice message back to him, back from him. So he was proactive in that, and this is what I love about the guy. You know, it's that's a real, true, meaningful friendship. And when I came here, you know, lots of people in Dubai want to do business with me. They saw me with this person on their social media profile. Immediately I get a phone call. Don't do business with her. Why? Let me send you something. Right? And I trust this guy is big, right? And he's a friend, right? I said, you want to come to Bali with me? He said, and most people, yeah, I'll be there. He shows up, right? It's like, that's what I mean. Like, do you know what I say about friendship? If you have to try so hard to get a meeting with a friend, and I'm like, there's one guy I've been trying to meet. Oh, I'm too busy. Oh, bro, I got this meeting. Oh, let's do next time. Never replies. I'm like, why should I give you my time? I've put in the effort to try. Now just don't even send that person a message. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to see my brand blow up, and then I'm going to get a message.
It's funny because when I started doing big events, I just suddenly started having people out of the blue just mess. Literally, like the next day, like I haven't spoken to you for 5 years, we want something. And I just think it's funny because now I see it every time we do one. I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
What would you say is the best way for people to build their network and get the right people in terms of having those right types of connections, so not having the wrong people around them? Because I see that happen a lot, particularly here in Dubai, where people get in the wrong circle of people, maybe go down the wrong route a little bit, particularly younger guys.
2 ways: earn your way in, buy your way in, or refer your way in. That's 3 ways, right? So now I wouldn't like, I'll make sure, like, let's say someone says, oh, you can go here. Okay, who are their friends with? Look at their friends list, right? So it's almost like, we're not profiling people, but it's just like one bad relationship or one image with someone, like, it can really make a big dent, right, on your business, right? It just changes people's perceptions. And most people won't call you up and get it from the horse's mouth. They just make an assumption, but they have no context around it. Because those 3 sides of things, there's your side, their side, and there's the truth, right? But most people are not willing to get the truth. So adding value to people, this is what I found. All the celebrities that follow me, that I do business with, that I invest with, right? It always comes back. I'll give an example. So Rio Ferdinand, good friend of mine. Right? He used to play for Manchester United.
He follows me on Instagram. Actually,
oh, yeah,
I'm a big Man United fan as well. So,
well, next time he's in Dubai, I should tell him. You should come
awesome,
on your podcast, right? But I went for breakfast with him, and he's like, John, like, you know, what we should do? And we're talking about all these, like, because what we want to do is like have kids learn football, right? So I went to his house a few times, and then when we have breakfast together, he tells me about this app. And I say, hey, John, you know, you're into this like tokenomics stuff. Like, let me introduce you to the founder of this company, right? So, and we were in London at the time, so I sat down with her. And I just it was an innocent meeting. I just wanted to help support. I wanted to add value, and it was great. And then I said, actually, you should really be having a tokenomics play on this, because people are watching. So it's basically an app where you get paid to watch content. Imagine that.
I think I've heard of it.
Right, yeah. It's called We Are 8.
Okay.
Right? So I wouldn't have got that deal had I not have, first of all, posted good stuff on social media, had I not have sat down for breakfast, Real, who made that introduction, and now I'm an investor in the company. That's how you get allocation. But people, do you think anyone can get allocation into that? No. Right? You've got to always add value and always help, and do not expect anything in return. Right? And so what I do is okay, I can ask you the simple question: what are you working on right now that can help you with?
Systematizing our business with AI after this conversation.
Right. So let me sit down with you or your team. Yeah. I'll get my team and we'll set up a call, and we'll make that happen.
Yeah.
Right. Because I know I know you're doing big things, and it's gonna really grow to the next level. Right. I won't ask anything in return, but I know next time you follow me, I follow you, and it might be a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. For Daniel, I've known him for 10 years, and then now he refers.
Yeah.
Right? So relationships have to be nurtured. They have to be value add. Most people, when they go for some kind of networking partnership, like you said, when you do something, they call you only when they want something. Right? You need to be thinking of people. Like a lot of the businesses that I'm involved in, those companies that I'm in, if I see something, I'll send it to the founder. I say, bro, you need to check this out. I'm thinking of you because you're doing this, and this will add value to that. Oh, thanks, bro. I appreciate that. Right? You need to do things that you really care about them.
And that's that point. We've almost got multiple people looking out for you at that point. It's much easier to succeed. It's
funny because when Juliet, she's first time in Dubai, and all these people, this morning till now, all the meetings we've had this morning on the way from the desert to here, she said, God, you've got so many people looking out for you. Isn't that what you said? Yeah. Right. So that's why it's nice, because you've put the goodwill into the network, and that's the key. Put the goodwill into the network. Help people. Don't just say you want to help people and then not do it. Right. Actually follow through, and it's actually very refreshing.
I think you can tell when someone's being sincere and genuine and they wants to help, when someone's trying to be transactional and get something back, and that instantly repels people straight away.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give an example. So this morning we were sat at breakfast. I'm sat with John, and we're talking about, maybe I should move to Dubai. And he's like, you want to move to Dubai? I can get you a visa straight away. I said, really? I said, okay, let's talk about it. So he picks up his phone, sends a message immediately. That guy's now replying back to me and says, okay, here's what you need to do. I'm like, that was fast, right? And then we're talking about, okay, so I've got this big publisher, but actually you might want to consider this strategy. Really? You think we should do that? And if I tell you the name of the podcast, it's like one of the top. Yeah. And they've done that show many, many times. He's like, you want to go on it? I said, really? He's like, okay, let me make a phone call, right? But so didn't pick up the phone, voice note, straight to that person. You see, a network works like this. If you try and get yourself into the network, it's very hard to get in. But if Daniel says you should have this person in, you listen to Daniel. That's actually the secret network, because he would not refer me, because if something goes wrong, whatever, then it's bad on him. So that's why you have to protect it from both sides. You see, so you put in the good value. You don't expect anything in return. People say great things about you, right? You're reliable, you're trustworthy. Things can get done when you say it's going to be done. Because a lot of people, what I found? A lot of people are fluffy. Very fluffy.
I think something I think about a lot is obviously you're way more successful than me, so is Daniel, but the way I would try and earn your respect is not the things I have, but how hard I would work and how quickly I'll execute things that you would tell me to do. So you asked me, what are you doing? I was like, after this call, I'm going to work out what the hell we're going to do with AI and how we're going to systematize this. And then I want to message you, be like, we've done X, Y, Z. And that's, for me, how you earn people's respect. And the people I mentor, when I see them do something straight away, I'm like, shit, this person got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And isn't it refreshing? Because a lot of people say, but they don't do. Right? But how do you know what people are really doing? Don't watch what they say, watch what they do.
I'm also a big believer a lot of the time that sometimes the loudest person in the room is the weakest person in the room. It's always the quiet ones who just get their head down and get on with it. And I give a good example of that. It's one of our clients is Leah Mares. This girl's 24, 25. She makes $230,000 a month as an online coach. Right. But she's very quiet, keeps herself, just grinds on her business and gets the thing done and just executes, no complaining. It's I had a call with her last week and I was like, here's a template you can make for a VSL slide deck. as soon as I came off the Zoom call, I could see her editing
Did you say Leah Lamar?
Elia Miraz.
Oh, right.
Elia Miraz, sorry. As soon as I came off the Zoom call, I could literally see her editing it because I saw that open. And I was like, that's why she's successful, because she actually takes action, whereas the people who don't are just procrastinating all the time, which is why they don't succeed.
You don't want people in your network who are just dabblers or fluffy, or they don't take action, right? Because first of all, you're wasting your time if you do that, and then you feel a part of it's gone. So the big part is to make sure that they're doers and they're executors, right? Not people who are just like fluffy, and that's why you have to be so careful. But sometimes it's hard to tell. Sometimes they can do all this and they're good at this, but then what if they're actually doing? And that's the important part.
You clearly have a very strong mindset. I'd say that's one of the most important things of an entrepreneur. I don't know if you would agree.
Yeah, I mean, you have to always work on this. Like, how does an entrepreneur build this? Resilience. So how do you get resilience to fail? I failed a lot of time. I lost a lot of money, like business done this and done this. Like, I get it, right? I've been through the trenches, but I'm also still learning. Like, to me, I'm still like a kid in a candy store. Like, what's available? What can I do? And I think you've got to always have that excitement. I would say, like, there's 3 things you need to really, anyone starting a business, how do you know it's the right thing to do? Does it bring you joy? Are you good at it? And what problem are you solving? These 3 things. And if all these 3 are aligned, you can do whatever you want to do. But for most people, they don't work on this. Like, in fact, Julian, I was talking about this. Like, we now are not going to take clients on unless they've taken a personal development program, right? So also for our organization, you want to come work for our organization? I'll ask them some simple questions. Do you know who Tony Robbins is?
Yeah.
If they say, well, I mean, let's pretend you're an employee.
Yeah.
If you say no, you're not hired.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have gone through no mindset stuff. Do you know Robert Kiyosaki is? They say no, you're not hired. Right? And the funny thing, right? Because you want people in your organization who understand what you do. Yeah. Right? And I know these mindsets. And the next question is, have you ever paid for a course before yourself? Yeah, I've been on loads of courses. No, did you pay from your pocket or did your company pay? Right? That's when you know it's a really good employee, where the employee wants to do personal and professional development, that they're willing to put their own money in to develop themselves. That's the person you want to hire.
From your standpoint, what do you think, to start to wrap up, is the biggest value add you can give to someone to help from their mindset perspective if they're in a position maybe they're overwhelmed or they're unsure of what they should do next within their business, or whether it's escaping their 9-to-5 job they have right now?
Honestly, part of it is just osmosis. Be around people who are doers, right? And then you do it. It sounds really simple, but here's the thing, right? I always say entrepreneurship is jumping off a cliff, building a plane on the way down. That's what it is. It's like there's nothing real strategic. You don't set a business plan and then you go, oh, I'm going to do this first and this first. And it never works like that. Hardly ever. Entrepreneurship is organized chaos at best. Right? You know what I'm talking about.
That's why I'm laughing.
Right? It's organized chaos. It's everything we do seems so random, but it's strategic. It's strategically random. So everything that we do has a place, as long as we don't know where we want to go, but we know where the North Star is. It's that direction. I don't know where it is, but it's that direction. Then we keep going towards it. And the more the path that we take, the more we're able to see a clearer path. And then we know what the next thing is to do. So actually, when we look at success is actually really failure. You know, when I invest in a company, I ask them, what iteration of the app are you on right now? If they say, oh yeah, we're not even iterated, I'm not investing. Right? Why did I invest in Daniel's company? Because I knew that he's had I knew he'd been doing score up 10 years ago with the quizzes. So I know he's perfected that to such a point that bang, it's done. Right? So it's the failures that you have to go through that give you that leg up, because the only reason why you become successful is because you know what to do, and to know what to do, you know what not to do. Sorry about that.
That's right.
When people ask me, John, what should I do to do this? Right? It's not about what should you do to do this. Right? It's not about that at all. Right? It's not the things you should be doing. You should be asking me, what shouldn't I be doing? What should I not be doing? What mistakes am I making right now? Do you think? And you know why people don't ask the question? Ego.
Because they know they're probably making them as well, right?
Yeah, but if you don't know the truth, how are you going to execute?
What's the biggest mistakes you see most beginner level entrepreneurs making?
They are not investing in themselves.
I'd agree.
Right? Even when they get to like your level where you know you're making this money. Like, I find that between 0 to 100 grand is a certain mindset. Then 100 grand to $1 million is another mindset, right? And then 1 million to 10 million is another mindset. Then 1 million to 50 to 100 million is another mindset. 100 million to $1 billion, different mindset, right? And so we need to find, that's why I'm hanging around a lot of billionaires now, because I see the way they think. And do you know what I noticed? The billionaires are more inquisitive than the millionaires. Like when I speak to them, they're asking me, I said, Glenn, you're the billionaire. Why are you asking me these questions? I want to learn. I was like, look at how humble they are, right? What I find is anytime people make between 1 and 5 million, they think like they're the best, they know everything. But it's a learning process.
It's funny you say that, because I had a meeting with a billionaire a week or two ago on the Palm here in Dubai, and he wanted help with marketing for some business they're doing in Saudi Arabia. And he asked me so many questions, and I was like, it was just fascinating the way he thought and he articulated it and the way he took everything in. Really, you could see the difference.
Yeah, and do you know what the difference is? Because a billionaire understands in order for them to get to $1 billion in valuation or revenue, they have to have the smartest people. They cannot be the person at the top. Whereas a lot of millionaires, they don't understand that. They think they're that person. They're the person going to do everything, right? And they don't build the team. So if you're the smartest person in your team, you're going to go broke. So that's why I think a lot of billionaires, they understand that concept, they understand the hiring process, and they understand that in order for a company to grow, your team has to be aligned.
And is that why it's so important to have a clear vision of what you want to do? Because you said about business plans earlier on, I agree with you completely that people make like 12-month, 3-year business plans, but I only really look really strategic at like 90-day blocks, 3 months max, because I think outside of that, particularly even a lot of stuff we've spoken about today, technology is moving so fast, social media is moving so fast, you don't know what's going to be like in 2 to 3 months necessarily.
Yeah. Well, if you don't keep, look, your business can only grow to as big as you can grow, right? I always say, like, imagine this cup, right? And imagine this is all the money in the world. Let's say this cup is the size of a espresso cup, and I keep pouring, right? So I keep pouring like that. Obviously, this is a bigger one. What's going to happen, right? It keeps filling up. But what happens if I keep pouring now? It's going to overflow. So you won't be able to hold the money. So if you don't learn all the things you just mentioned, your cup's going to be really small. And because there's all this wealth in the world right now, if you don't hold it, then you can't keep it. And you're always going to cut, and there's going to be holes in it. You see? That's how I think about this process. This is why I'm always learning. So this is why I travel around the world and hang around smart people. So I get to learn things. I go, wow, I just look pretty smart. Like this morning, like John who gave me this idea, and then Ken gave me another. I was like, oh, bloody hell, this is like insane. This is like billion-dollar idea stuff. But it's not about the idea, it's about the execution. So now I'm thinking, okay, how do I execute that? How do I put that in there? I've got all these skills, AI, like how can we put this and put it together? So that's how we do business.
It's funny you say that, because it's exactly what I've been thinking for this podcast about the AI stuff and how we can integrate that from a lot of things we do. And I think the ability and opportunities people are going to have in the next few years are going to be bigger than ever for the people who are willing to ask the right questions, get the right advice, and then seize the opportunity. Yeah. I want to say a big thank you for your time today. I took an absolute ton of value from this person. I'm sure everyone did listening to this. If you took value from it, drop your biggest takeaway in the comments. Where's the best place to find out more about you, the events you do?
You should go to my social media. Just go to John Lee on Instagram or John Lee Success on YouTube, or easyjohnlee.com.
Easy peasy. Make sure you check them out. Subscribe to this, and we'll see you next episode very, very soon. Thank you. That was really good. I really, really enjoyed it.